Welcome to the Safe Par Golf Podcast, where two average golfers talk about golf and things. I'm your host, Derek.
I am Dominic.
This is episode 179. We have a very special guest today.
Is it 179?
179, I think. 179. And we are welcoming Mike Welch, the tournament director of the 3M Open. Mike, we know you're a busy person, especially with the 3M starting next week, but we really do appreciate you taking the time and joining us.
Yeah, appreciate you having me on, Derek and Dom. Good to see you guys again.
Absolutely.
I can't believe it's next week.
I know. As mentioned, yes, the 3M Open starts next week. It's free admission for kids 15 and under. So make sure you take advantage of that. It's, you can't go to a movie without spending $100 or more taking kids. So it's really cool that you guys have that option to be able to treat some of the kids to go to the event. So that's very, very cool.
I don't feel old very often. And before we got on, Derek's like, oh, they're doing a Blippy and somebody meet and greet. And I'm like, what's a Blippy? So before I know it, we're Googling who Blippy is.
And Mika.
Yeah. And I'm like, what is going on? So it's cool that there is stuff for the kids as well.
Yeah. I mean, like, we've really, I know we want to talk about how it's evolved, right? Like the tournament, I think that is at the forefront is how we've become much more than just a golf tournament. Like if you are going to just make golf be the thing that you come to see and that's it, like you're dead, right? So like we've expanded, you guys have seen the Stilly Party Deck for the event seekers, but we're really leaning into families this year. So yeah, Derek, I mean, kids 15 and under are free courtesy of Cub. We're going to have meal deals during that day where you're getting 4 hot dogs and 4 beverages for $20.
Oh, wow.
We're going to have Blippy and Mika. I mean, again, I didn't know anything about Blippy and Mika, but I quickly found out when I mentioned it to like new dads or new grandfathers. I'm not in either one of those. I have teenage kids, but like 23 million subscribers on YouTube, like that's a lot. I don't care who you are. And so, yeah, I mean, we're almost sold out of those Blippy and Mika meet and greets, and it's going to be awesome. We're going to have all the team mascots there on Sunday, July 27th. That's going to be like our big family day. So we're really looking forward to that.
That's so cool. We obviously want to talk about the 3M Open itself, but you are the tournament director. Can you just kind of walk us through like what your job looks like on a day-to-day basis?
I mean, I think the great part about my job, our jobs, there's 11 of us here in the office, is that no 2 days are alike. And I think when you're in the world of sports, that's what's so advantageous to it. When I talk to, younger people in high school, or, we have an intern staff of 10 that are all in college, and they always ask me like, why sports? And I say, well, number one, what you have to realize is that if you want to retire early, don't get into sports, right? You don't get into sports for the money. You get into sports for just what I mentioned, the newness of each day, and just, how everything is just so unique. And I think that's what so cool about this. So, one day we might be focused on revenue and, trying to renew our 300 plus corporate partners. And then the next day we might be going to Greater Twin Cities United Way or First Team Minnesota and having one of our charity events where we're presenting them with a check, from the proceeds of our tournament. And then the next day we might be sitting down with our friends from the city of Blaine and Anoka County to talk about, the police and the security of the tournament and how did that work out. And it's just, every day is just so unique and so different. And I think that's what's so cool about this gig. My former life at the Timberwolves and Lynx, it was very much the same. And so I think, for any young aspiring professional that wants to get into sports, that's what you need to understand. It is a passion career. It's not one where you're going to retire early, but that's okay. It's a ton of fun.
I love that. How far in advance do you begin planning each year's event?
Well, the tournament, the last putt's going to drop on Sunday, July 27th this year. And then Monday, July 28th, we have the Monday after. So around noon, we have 25 or so corporate partners come out and play the course with the very exact same positions as Championship Sunday. And then Tuesday, July 29th, we start to tear down a little bit. And then I would tell you that on Wednesday, July 30th, we start focusing on 2026. And that happens with corporate partner renewals. That happens with, trying to get all of our charities lined up again. But the fall of 2025 will really be around corporate partners, and then taking care of our current vendors. And then as, usual in, I would say December, January, when there's usually 2 feet of snow on the ground, and there's not a lot of folks thinking about the world of golf right now. And then it really starts to ramp up come February. And February through May is a pretty good drumbeat of activity. And then once we get to June 1, you guys, it's hell in a handbasket. Like, it is
I bet.
crazy. Yeah, and we saw you guys obviously at Media Day, and everything was really constructed. We started our build about 11 weeks prior, so we started the second week of May this year, and that's when it really starts to just go. And yeah, so it's a flurry. I can't believe it's almost here, like you said, Dom. Like, I can't believe it's next week, and it's here, whether we like it or not.
So it's kind of a nonstop. It's just continually going. I thought maybe you guys like after the event, maybe take a little 2 week vacation, kind of wind down a little bit.
Well, sure. There's some of that in there. Our family, we take a vacation. We do a ballpark tour every year. This year we're going to
Cool.
Boston, so really excited about going to Fenway.
Ooh,
But
straight up
yeah, I
Dom's
mean,
alley right there. Speaking
yeah,
baseball.
yeah. I mean, I'm a baseball guy. I grew up playing baseball, played it in college, and so this will be Stadium 22 of the 30. And so we're trying to
Good for
get
you.
there. We're
Okay,
getting there.
so we don't know obviously all the stadiums that you visited, but so far, like, what are your top three stadiums so far?
It would be, I have 14 sons, and if you asked every one of them, it would be different. For me, Dodger Stadium was number one for me. I just, obviously it's not like, doesn't have any of the new perks that a lot of these new stadiums have, but I don't know if you guys have been, but like just the nostalgia of being in
It's
that area
yeah.
is so cool. And just like knowing the history of the games that are played in that stadium is just really, really cool for me. We haven't been to Yankee Stadium yet. This will be Fenway. I do like Wrigley. Wrigley's really cool. I'm from Milwaukee, so it's American Family Field now, but like, Miller Park is just such a great place. And of course, I'm biased. Target Field, I'll tell you what, from an actual viewing the game perspective, it really doesn't get better than Target Field. It's a hidden gem as well. So I don't know. Some of my kids would probably say like Kansas City because they have that whole area out in left field for all the young kids, wiffle
Sure.
ball, home run derby, all that. Some would say Cleveland because in right field, the third deck in right field from home plate all the way to the fence is all youth activities. So like speed pitch and the 60-yard dash and hitting cages, and they just love that one too. So it changes as we go along.
Sure.
So as somebody, I have season tickets for the Twins. I don't know if that is, that or not, but I grew up playing baseball. I know nobody asked me, but
I was going to ask
my
you.
favorite one, oh, I love Target Field. Bottom of my heart I do. Oracle is beautiful in San
Yeah,
Francisco.
we haven't been there yet. We haven't been there yet.
Yeah, we went there together. That was awesome.
Yeah, you need to go. There's
Yeah.
you can look over and obviously you look into the cove, right? If you look off to the left, people can actually bring their sailboats into the marina and walk into the game.
So
Yeah, it's kind of
cool.
cool.
It's a beautiful. Bush Stadium in St. Louis.
Yeah, we like that
I
one.
love Bush. I grew up a Cardinals fan. So when I was able to go to Bush with my dad, I was like, this is beautiful. Conveniently, we watched Nolan Arenado play third, and then he was traded a couple years later to St. Louis, and I was like, this is perfect. And then not counting Target Field, I do love Kansas City.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool.
I'd say Wrigley for me. I haven't been to a whole lot of stadiums. I'm more base basketball and football, but there is something special about Wrigley, and I think same thing. It's the history.
Mm-hmm.
And since they've been good, since they won the World Series, was it 2016?
I don't know. I blocked that year out.
But anyway, apparently that was supposed to be, that was kind of a rundown area there, and since they won the World Series, it's kind of hopping down there again. So
yeah,
but again, we got a little off topic there. But so going back to the tournament, what are some of the behind the scenes elements that fans might not realize that go into pulling these events off? So you'd kind of just mentioned the meeting with whether it's police officers, you're putting up all the different scaffold, all that other stuff.
I mean, even like the city of Blaine has to be involved.
Oh yeah. I mean, I was completely oblivious to what an undertaking this was when, I came over from the Timberwolves and Lynx, because there we have an arena. It's a set arena and you just fill it, and you have staff that works it. Here, your build is as big as you sell, right? And so each year we get a little bit incrementally bigger with more corporate partners and more hospitality and newer activations. And so, yeah, the amount of work that goes in by Leslie, our director of operations, and what she does with all of our vendors to build this thing is incredible. And then, you talk about like the city of Blaine and Anoka County and working with them, talk about working with Biffs and where the porta potties got to go, and just all of that stuff. Like, it's insane to think about, just the level of detail that goes into all of it. And the kicker is, like, you have a day like yesterday, yesterday, if you remember, was 53 degrees and rain the entire day. It like almost wipes out everything that she had planned for yesterday, and you got to pivot and like you start working inside, right? And then you have a day like today and you're like, oh, it's gorgeous. So then they finish everything that's outside. So it truly is a mix of art and science. The science is all the data that you do to try to build this thing and make it look great, and then the art is the elements like the weather, and if maybe something from a goods have not arrived and you have to pivot to something else, like that's just incredible. And then I think the other thing I would just say is just the volunteers. I think what folks don't realize that, it takes over 1,600 volunteers to put this thing on. So we have a staff of 11 that works on this all year, but it's 1,600 volunteers that really make this thing go and sing. And this year we have 1,645 volunteers, which is the most the 3M Open has ever had. And that's awesome to see, because coming out of COVID, you guys, volunteerism was down. I just think that that's natural, right? You come out of a pandemic, but now it's back up. We see it. The 3M employee base is really leaning into volunteering this year, which is awesome. We got a number of other corporations. You get 20, 25 employees from the same company, and you get out here and you volunteer 2, 3 times, together. That's really good bonding and good, good for culture. And so we're seeing a lot of more companies do that as well.
I remember when I volunteered, everyone was like, we need more, we need more, we need more. And I mean, that makes sense because I volunteered, I think 21, 22, which is, coming out of COVID and everything. It's nice to hear that you now have more than enough, because it was, it coming from, it used to be like a senior tour event, and now it's, a full on PGA event. And I hate to say it, but like the middle of nowhere, Minnesota, for a lot of people, like if you had told people to point to Blaine on a map.
I think Blaine's growing now, but yeah, I think.
But
yeah.
I mean, Blaine, it's still Blaine, right? It's not Minneapolis, it's not St. Paul.
Sure.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
That now it's like, hey, we have 1,645 volunteers, and this thing's going to run smoothly. I think another thing that's overlooked is one year when I was the volunteer there, we had to get evac'd because of like a thunderstorm rolling through. That was like the smoothest thing I have ever seen. Like just how quickly everybody was
just responded.
Yeah, it was so formal and it was so smooth, and nobody was happy, obviously, because you don't want to leave.
Yep.
But nobody was like, I'm not gonna go. And it was like the smoothest thing I've ever seen. And I feel like that's one of those things that, you look behind the scenes and everyone's like, what do we do? And I was like, you just follow them. Like what happens like if we have an event, right? All of a sudden tornado comes through Southern California, like what
that would be crazy if it came through Southern California, but yes.
But
no, I know what you're saying.
That's not something you and I have ever discussed.
We should prepare for next time, just in case. But that's why you guys are working around the clock, all year round, right? There's just so many what ifs, and like you said, the weather is so unpredictable. We don't know, especially in Minnesota. I'd imagine you guys
would have guessed 53 and rainy in July.
Yeah,
crazy.
It was beautiful.
It was a nice for
it was
change.
Nice. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Is that something that you really get not nervous about, but I mean, is that the biggest conflict that you have as far as running the event is the weather? Is that like kind of the biggest?
Yeah. I mean, variable? I think you for it. Yeah, it is the biggest variable. It affects a lot of things. It affects attendance, right? I mean, you guys have seen there's been some years where it's 94 degrees with humidity, and that's uncomfortable for everyone, right?
Yeah.
I've tried to do a better job of just not worrying about it. There's only one person that controls the weather, and it ain't me, and so it's like, how do I get myself all wrapped up around that when I know I can't control it? But again, back to the point that you just have to be prepared for whatever is coming your way. And so if you're going to have a great weather day, great. You focus on everything else, right? And if you don't, if it's going to be a little bit tenuous, like that's always, at the forefront of your mind. It's like, okay, when this happens, we got to shift to this. And, you guys talked about evac. I mean, like we go through great painstaking, meetings to just make sure that evac is buttoned up. So everybody in every hole knows where they're going, who they got to get. There's people that are responsible for different blocks of hospitality to go in there. And to your point, Dom, say like, hey guys, I'm so sorry. This is not what we want, but like you do not want to be in this tent if there's a lightning storm coming, right? And so like once you hear that, it's like, okay, where do I go? So, I think it just, we want to make sure that everybody's safe first and foremost, and then, get them out in a Tommy fashion. And then when it's safe to come back, you do. And it's just the nature of having an outdoor event in the summer in Minnesota.
Might be a dumb question, but how do you approach bringing in like top tier players each year to compete? Because I know you guys do a really good job of posting all the different people that are coming.
Your favorite guys there this year.
Ricky is coming. Yeah, we saw him a couple of years ago, and he's back. I'm excited about that. Do you like hop on a call with players or the agents, or how does that work?
I remember the last time we talked about this, it was weird because it was like Open, Olympics,
Yeah,
3M
Yeah,
Open.
that's
Or
a lot of
I
fun.
might have been
Other way.
somewhere reversed where it was really weird where a lot of guys were skipping because of that.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
this year should be more normal.
Olympic years are not fun years. Yeah, no, I would just say that yes, there's conversations with players, there's conversations with agents. We have obviously Hollis Kavner and Tracy West, who is the tournament director of the Valspar Championship down in Tampa, but she's also my boss, and she's the one that handles a lot of the player conversations. I mean, those are just continuous. And the fact that we control two PGA Tour tournaments, ours and the Valspar, we did have three. We had the Wells Fargo before it became the Truist. We don't control that one anymore, but we're constantly talking to them because one tournament was in March, one was in May, and ours is in July. So you know all of those folks, right? I think what gets them here, knowing that they got to come from overseas, or if you're out in Reno at the Barracuda, is that when you come here, there's not a tournament on tour that takes better care of the players, their families, and the caddies. And whether that is through, dinners out on the patio at TPC or bounce houses, or we always have events going on, whether it's at the Twins game or United, or just something for families to do. We want them is to embrace Minnesota just like we do in the summer, right? Yep. So we have outdoor events, we have sporting events, and we just get tickets to that through some of our partners, or we buy them, and we just say, hey, Tuesday night, here's what's going on. Like this year, I'm taking Jonathan Vegas and his family out to the Twins game on Friday, and he's throwing the first pitch, and then we're taking him out up to the suite, to meet a lot of the 3Mers, and like they're like, cool, like he's doing something for us, like we get to have him do a first pitch and yep. bring more awareness to 3M Open, but we get to take him and his family out to a game, and they're like, that's the coolest thing ever. And Johnny loves baseball too, so we try to be very intentional around what we're doing for these players and their families when they get here, because again, we know that it's a travel hassle, air quotes, from the Open Championship, wherever that is, but once they get here, they know that they're going to have an awesome time.
What's the most rewarding part of leading a PGA Tour event like this for you?
I think that, the charity piece, whenever we're asked that question, if we're fortunate enough to give over $1 million each and every year to 20 plus charities, like we're just very intentional on who we give it to. So not only do they have to be good stewards of, the money that we give them, but we want to make sure that there is a hands-on or an activity that we can do as a staff along with 3M that really shows that impact. And so if you're talking about M Health Fairview, Masonic Children's Hospital, we're able to go there and actually donate our time and spend time with some of the kids and the families in the 3M Open Plaza. Or if we go to First Tee Minnesota to one of their events, you see some of these kids that have been impacted so positively by First Tee, and you realize that everything we do leading up to the tournament, and then whatever we give the charity, is making real meaningful change inside of these charitable organizations. And it's really rare that you can do that. I think we talked about this before, but the PGA Tour and its tournaments, all 46 of them, that's the model for all of these. And since the tour's inception, they've given over $4.6 billion to the communities that they are in. And that's more than the other 4 sports leagues. And that's just really, really unique. And so as, people who are not employees of the tour, but we serve the PGA Tour as a tournament, like that's very rewarding. And so to be able to, do that and see, again, those tangible outcomes of what is happening these 4 days out here is really, really awesome.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I saw there's a little clip on the website too. It's since 2019, 3M Open has donated over $8 million to charity, impacting more than 1 million lives, which again is amazing.
Are a lot of those local, like Twin Cities charities, I'm assuming, like Minnesota based? Yeah.
Yep. I mean, it's like 98% local and regional.
Wow.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So, and maybe you probably kind of relate to this, but like, how do you evaluate like success year over year without, minus the TV ratings and things like that? How do you kind of evaluate that?
I mean, I think there's three buckets. Number one is our title partner happy. These tournaments don't happen without title partners, and for us, we're constantly in communication with 3M to make sure that we're checking that box. What does it look like out on course? Are we providing a tournament that they can leverage with their customers the best way? And 3M does this better than anybody on tour by bringing in so many of their customers to enhance those relationships that move their business forward. That's one bucket. The second bucket is, we talked about the charities. Like, are we as a tournament making a huge impact in the lives of these charities? And that's important to 3M as well and their community impact division. And so I think we check that box each and every year. And then, the third one is just the Twin Cities community, just the fans, the sports fans, just in general. Like, is it an event that is growing each year, or is it something that feels a little bit stale and stagnant? And I don't think that that's happening. I think in each and every year we're getting a little bit bigger, a little bit better. Some of the jumps we've made in some years have been great, and some have been incremental, both from a revenue and a impact standpoint. We still have to keep in mind that there's 12 sacred weekends out of the course of a Minnesota calendar, the summer months, right? And we happen to fall on one of those. And sometimes, we do really well. And then there's some years where just everybody decides, one weekend that they're going to go out of town. It might be that weekend. And that's really my goal. Like, what keeps me up at night is like, how do we get these families and these corporate partners to cross off 3M Open weekend and just come and support this? Because again, the more corporate support we have, the more ticket revenue we have, the more we can give to charity. It is a sort of a give and take effect there. And, that's why tournaments like the WM Phoenix Open have become so successful. Now, again, we're talking about 94 years of history there. So there's a lot there, right? But at one point, they were not as successful as they are now. And now they're giving out about $14.5 million to charity each and every year. It'd be wonderful to, even sniff something like that. And you do that through, again, just building it every year until you're sitting back. It won't be me, 25 years from now saying like, wow, look what we're building here,
Sure. Has there ever been like conversations about like maybe down the road as far as changing like when the event takes place?
So actually, before Mike, I mentioned I'm a hoarder. I have my inaugural. The first one was in July 1st.
Yeah.
So
it was 4th of July weekend.
4th of July weekend. So it's funny how you're talking about how 12 sacred weekends, and then like the first one is on like one of the most sacred weekends in Minnesota, because everyone's at the lake, at the cabin, and I didn't know I had this, and I looked back and I'm like, God, the first one was on the 4th of July.
Crazy, right?
So happy you guys moved it back a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it was tough for 3M to get customers, as you can imagine, a 4th of July weekend. Sure. Mm-hmm. It helps the field because it's not after or before a major. That helped. But, I would just say that, we have had discussions with the tour about if a date opens up in June or July that is not in the weekend that we are right now, that we have sort of one of the first, discussions for that. But here's something to think about. Everybody always says, like, what would be your preferred weekend? And I always say that it's that first weekend in June, because again, school has just let out. People are not going to the cabin right away that first weekend. People are just still kind of decompressing, right? The problem with that is that because our build takes 11 weeks, sometimes 12, we would have to start building in the middle of March. There's some winters, guys, where that ground, that ain't thawed by the middle of March. And so like, how do you start doing that? So, we have a very finite window of when we can build this in, and we're the second to last tournament, by the way, right? So there's not a lot after ours. So we can't even really talk about moving back. So, as a new tournament, number one, you don't get your pick and choose of where you can go, right? You sort of get what you get. You don't throw a fit, right? And then, then you just try to get better around that date. And, again, we certainly have been having conversations with the tour to just say like, hey, let's have a talk if something opens up, and we'll take it from there.
This also might be a dumb question, but do you have like a locked in, like you say, like kind of like a contract of like guaranteed X amount of years that you're going to be, hosting this 3M Open? You know what I mean?
So this is the first, this is the 7th and final year of the first agreement. And so we announced in, oh my goodness, I should know this like the back of my hand. In April, March 4th, we announced a new 5-year extension. So now we will be here from 2026 through 2030.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah. So I hope, like, I think it's the coolest thing. Even when growing up, go to the senior tour, and I thought it was so cool. But I was like, Minnesota is such a great state to have golf. That's like, I think we need to have an event. So I'm so like,
we have some unreal courses. Like obviously not all of them you could have a tour event at, right? Like
Yeah.
can't really do it at Giants Ridge. Can't really do it. My favorite one's the Wilderness at Fortune Bay. I'm biased though because my cabin's right down the road. Um, you can't do it there. And obviously you could probably do it at Hazel's team, but it's like how fun would that be? I'm so happy it's at TPC in Blaine next to an airport.
I was just gonna say the airport's got to be a pretty convenient thing too, right?
For some of the players, yeah, but you'd be surprised. A lot of them fly right into MSP, actually.
Right, MSP.
I was gonna ask that earlier, but I was like,
not a far drive, so it's not really.
And I was like, unless you have like a private plane.
So we kind of talked about the 5 years. What's your vision for the future of the 3M Open? Like maybe your personal vision, and maybe
I've said it before, like we just need to continue to grow this thing. We need to grow it in revenue. We need to grow it in corporate partners. We need to grow it in the number of fans that walk through our gates every single year. We need to grow it in charitable impact. If you can keep doing that, again, I'm more of a realist than an optimist, and I don't call that glass half full, glass half empty. I just, I see things pretty black and white. Like, I know that if we got Scotty Scheffler or Rory McIlroy or God forbid Tiger Woods to come to our tournament, that this thing would take a leap, right? Yep. The reality is that, coming out of right after a major, most of the time you're not going to get the top 5 players in the world. I will tell you that this year we have 55 of the top 110 players in the official world golf ranking committed to the 3M Open. That is by far our deepest field we've ever had. Like that's really good for the week after the British Open, right? So that's awesome. I do think that the tour is helping tournaments like ours that either fall before or after a major to help get the top players to at least show up every once in a while. I've always said this, but like if every year we could get 2 of the top names, so like next year if we got Scotty Scheffler and Jordan Spieth, and the year after that we got Rory McIlroy and Xander Schauffele, like I think this tournament would take a huge leap. If it doesn't, we're still taking incremental gains, right? And I think like anything, you build this thing slowly but surely. I spent 13 years at the Wolves, and that's what we talked about all the time. We had to build this thing slowly. Then you draft a guy like Anthony Edwards, and the whole thing changes, right? And so, like, I always wonder, like, you get Scotty Scheffler to come, and you get Rory. Does this thing change? Does 20,000 people now come for one day that has never experienced before, and they have such a great time because the experience is wonderful that they're like, I don't care who's there next year, I want to come back. And that's I do think that would happen. So I just in the Timberwolves we used to call it being 50 win ready, and we never sniffed 50 wins in my times there. Here I'm like, what does it mean when one of the top players in the world commits? You better be ready for what that is, and your show better be looking really good. And so I think we're there. We just need some of these, folks to be there. And when we have years like this where our field is the deepest, we got to make sure we're hitting that and showcasing to everybody that this is a great event to be at.
No, that's I like that reference with that. I like you'd mentioned earlier, the Flippy. Can we kind of talk a little bit about some of the I know you have a concert with Lee Bryce on Saturday. It's kind of an event, like you said, it's not just for the avid golf fan. You got children, whoever it might be. There's exhibits for everybody.
And at this point, it's not just, your average golf fan. Like you're saying, you could bring a family and you could feed them $20. Which you can't. I can't go feed myself for $20 at Target Field.
Right.
I wish I could. That'd be great.
Yeah.
I'm always excited to hear what's new. So it's like my favorite part. Last year, my favorite thing was the new 3M dome you guys had with all like the 3M innovation and everything. Yeah. I thought that was super cool. So I'm excited to hear what's
they did the golf the golf swings and the chipping on there. They had the chipping in the bunker.
There's that robot thing too.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's gonna be a little bit different this year. They're doing a lot of their 3M technology in their customer tent, but they're keeping all of the golf stuff in the 3M Swing Lab presented by TaylorMade. It's going to be outdoors this year, obviously covered and shaded, but they're going to have a really cool putting activation. They got a water activation, all golf related, sand again, chipping challenge. Like it is really cool. You guys are going to love it. You could spend all afternoon up there, so that's going to be really cool. Yes, we do have swings.
That's right.
Yeah. Swings and Strings, presented by Scotch, featuring me, Bryce. Country music and golf just seems to go really well together. So that's going to be Saturday night, 30 minutes after round 3 concludes. Some new food and beverage partners, which again, like, gone are the days where you think you can just go to a sporting event and get a regular old hot dog and a regular old hamburger and be okay. Like that, people demand more. So we're partnered with My Burger. You may have seen the social,
Yep.
the Greenskeeper. Like that thing is friggin' awesome, right? We got Red Savoy pizza. Yep. We had that at Media Day, and I mean, there's just again, our goal is to come. We talked about this. If you're not a core golf fan, and if you're a family, got to have something for the family. If you're an event seeker, and yes, the concert is great, but like, are you interested in kind of just letting loose a little bit and hearing some music? Well, get out to the Stilly Party Deck. It's all you can drink Stilly. You get a food item from Tipsy Steer. You got music out there. It's a vibe, right? It's really cool. Then you got a different fan journey, like something around science. Well, there's going to be some science around there, and so I think if you go to 3mopen.com, click on one of the fan journeys, there's going to be something for everyone. What I don't want to get lost is like, if my kids were younger, it's really hard to just sit still anywhere for 2 hours, right? Here we have 6.2 miles of front row seats, right? Like we have over 6 miles of front row seats. It's very rare that you can get a front row seat to any sporting event. Here, if Ricky Fowler hits his ball left and it's right by the ropes, you're standing right there and you get to see Ricky Fowler hit a ball, right? And then if you're a kid,
could hit you with this.
I'm hoping, maybe just hit me like my shoulder, get a signed glove or something.
There you go. But if you're a young kid, you can go to one of our 2 autograph zones, Blaze Autograph Zone, or the Mr. Bubble, which new this year, Autograph Zone over in the practice facility, and interact with these pros who just take all the time in the world to sign stuff and interact with the kids, and it's just awesome. So I think again, we want to make sure that you're coming out here. Yes, there's a ton of great stuff where you can get lost and do all that, but like I'm big on family and exercise and enjoying one another, right? There's too much of this time around, right? Just sitting on your phone, not talking. Get out to the 3Mopen and walk around with your family and see some golf and just explore, how beautiful a golf course can be.
I didn't really think of it, but you made such a good point where it kind of like it's kind of like I've never sat courtside at a Timberwolves game. It's definitely on my bucket list. But like you had mentioned, like you can be right on the ropes and you can see this golfer right. You can walk the whole course.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really good note on that.
That's how I felt when I saw DJ one of theirs. I was like, God, you're big. And then he missed the cut, and I was like, dang it. I don't want to be that big anymore. But yeah.
What is there a spot that you would like? Okay, if you were attending the event, which obviously you will be, but I'm just saying as a spectator, as a fan, is there a spot besides like walking the course? Is there like one spot that you really like? You gotta hang out there for a little bit.
I think there's a couple on both the front 9 and back 9. I think on the front 9, you go between holes 4 and 7. We have a little up on the hill there. There's a concession stand. There's shade sails. You can see 3 green, 4T, which is the par 3, and 7T, and they walk right by you. That's a really cool spot. You can go up by 7 green, and there is a mini donut truck and the White Claw Cove there this year. Who doesn't love a white claw and a mini donut? And 7 green is right there. And then on the back 9, I like 14. 14, there's a grove of trees that you can sit underneath there. Right there, we have it's the Thrivent landing zone, so you can sit in a chair. And if you're in that chair at the end of the day, you get to pick up that chair and take it home. You can see 17 green from where you're sitting there, so you can see him putting out on 17. We are going to have a new. It's called the True Stone Oasis. It's a refillable water station right over there by 14 this year.
Nice.
It's not super hot that you don't need a ton of those. And then of course 18 is awesome. 18 is one of the best finishing holes on the entire PGA Tour schedule. You can sit in the Northwoods with the shade in one of our areas over there and watch the second shot, or you can get up right by the green, what we're talking about before, and see them, either hit a 240-yard approach shot, or if they lay up, hit a 120-yard spin back a wedge and see some magic on that hole. Like, it is such a fun finishing hole.
God, on Sunday that hole is going to be carnage.
Yeah.
Like that.
It
Like
depends
that.
which way the wind is blowing. It's so funny because when people think like the wind is blowing in on 18, that it makes it a harder hole, it's the exact opposite. When the wind is at the player's back, it is so hard to keep that drive in bounds. It's either to the left in the crap or it's in the water. And there are so many bogeys when that wind is behind you. So like just a note, when the wind's blowing in, it's a pretty easy scoreable hole. When the wind's at your back, it is
Harder.
a very tough hole.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
We looked at it at media day and we're like, God, last year we eagled it. We got to get like an albatross or something. Just like
The wind was it was in our, we eagled. I think we told you, but it was Dom and I, and then the 10K take screw Jack. And it was a team effort. It was probably the coolest thing.
Yeah, that was last year. This year,
we got some good content though.
We birdied it and we were like, let's get out of here.
The way it was hauling, but we did a really cool 2v2 with 10K take. So we've been dropping. There's going to be a full YouTube video on that. And then like we had mentioned,
we played 3 holes against them. I don't want to spoil anything, so I won't.
Can't spoil it. Yeah, can't spoil it.
We took one of my shots, and I was pretty proud of that. I had a pretty good 3-wood to like 2 feet from the green, and I was like, yes.
It's such a beautiful course. With that being said, what's your favorite, maybe your favorite hole to play, and then also maybe just like your favorite hole in general on the course, GPC?
I don't score well on this course, you guys. I'll be honest. Like, I'm a 4.5 handicap playing to like about a 9 right now. And there are some days where I can shoot a 75, 76, but I'm going to be honest. Most of the time I'm like in the mid 80s on this course.
I'd be happy with that.
Yeah. And again, I've always played the game of golf. I never played it like really, really competitively just because I'm a baseball player. But like, in business for the last 25 years, obviously I've played quite a bit of golf. The old, the old adage is if you want to be good at golf, don't work in the golf industry, right? Yeah. And that's never true. I've played so much less golf since I've started this job. But I would say that my favorite hole, is probably 14. Even though it's just incredibly intimidating, right? You're standing up there in a par 4 and you see all that water. Here's my least favorite hole, you guys, and you're gonna laugh at it. It's 16. Like I honestly can't remember the last time I got a par on 16.
Really?
It's the one. So for the during the Threem Open, if we play it at the way back, it's like 418 yards. But if you remember, that's the one that we play up for at least one round or maybe 2, and it's 304 yards and it's drivable. I never play it from that distance. Maybe I should, but like I'm either dead left or past to the left of the bunkers, and then I'm right in the water, and then the hole at the green, if you remember, is like a skinny finger, and you just can't hold it, and then it's death over it, and I'm such a bad chipper. So I usually play better in the front 9 than I do the back 9. I get to the back 9 and I just start to tense up, my hands sweat, and it's not pretty.
What's your favorite? Since we've played it a couple times now, because my favorite's a weird one.
I'm trying to remember the one actually where I think you actually pulled up behind us, and I actually hit a really good drive, but it actually went into the water. It's on the back. Well, because we started on.
Is that 6?
No, I'm trying to think. We started on 4.
So 4 is my favorite.
Let's say that's
everyone. It freaks everybody out. Yeah.
Yeah, I go in the water all the time left there.
I duffed it my first shot. I'm like, that's how today's gonna go, guys.
But of course, obviously, 18 is just so super cool, and then we obviously appreciate you guys inviting us to the 3M Media Day, but I mean, just being able to have a scramble and then get an eagle on 18 in such a famous hole, it was pretty cool.
So hole 8.
Actually, can't remember. It's got all the bunkers up there, but there's water on the left. And said I hit a really good drive.
7. It was 7. 7. It was 7.
Okay.
I remember that. Yeah.
Even though I put it in the water on that one, I think it's just like the view itself is beautiful.
Did you watch me shank that drive straight right, or were you not behind me at that point?
I'm not sure what you're talking about, Dom. I don't see you ever shanking it.
Can't say. Is there anything? So we're just going to ask a couple of rapid fire questions, but is there anything maybe that we had missed that you might want to mention or add?
No, man, it's been great. I mean, I just appreciate you guys covering it and being champions for it. Like I said, I mean, Rome wasn't built in a day, and we just, think that if we continue to do this the right way, which we think that we're doing, continue to get the support, continue to make sure that a lot of these companies and fans are just crossing off 1, 2 days on this Thursday through Sunday schedule, we continue to build this thing. If our field keeps on improving every year like it is, like there's a lot of these great things that are going, for us. I mean, you guys said it at the outset of this, like Minnesota is a great golf market. It supports golf. Obviously next year we got, the KPMG Women's Championship coming. Yep. And so that's going to be great for this market too. And so, yeah, I just, we continue to be encouraged around how this community shows up for our tournament.
Sure. And I think Dom could mention it too, but for me personally, this is something that we look forward to every year, playing in the 3M Open Media Day. It's something that we really enjoy. And like you said, you do such a great job with your team, just whether or not just reaching out to people like us, local people that really enjoy the game and like to, be a part of it. So for me personally, I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. And
I got that email, California, my Airbnb, and I squealed and I woke Brendan up. He was like, "What did you do?" I'm like, "I didn't do anything. Don't even worry about it." I went to sleep and he was like, "Dude," I'm like, "Sorry."
That's funny.
So we appreciate it. It means a lot to us.
I know we get so excited to go out and play and see everybody, and
we're doing the 2v2 doing the 4-person scramble with 10K takes at Victory Link. So I appreciate plugging that for us.
Yeah, we're gonna try to we're gonna try to qualify.
We're trying to qualify. We might show up to the 3M Open on Thursday. You don't know.
There might be
Thursday.
It's funny. Everybody else will be like pro, and then there's just us group.
Yeah. Who is this group of people?
Just foursome.
There you go. Exactly. Maybe next year we'll do we can do the pro-am as a foursome with the 10K takes.
There you go.
Oh my God.
Okay, a couple of quick questions. And you could be more than one, but is there a specific or a favorite pro that you've worked with in the past? Pro golfer?
Yeah, it's always hard to answer that one because I don't want to single. I'll just say like
you could say all of them.
Yeah, I mean, I've worked in sports, for 20 plus years, and PJ Tour golfers are pretty regular dudes. They just happen to be really good at this game. I just, I have soft spots for two people. I have soft spot for Sahith Theegala and Chris Gotterup, who obviously won last week. Both of them were sponsor exemptions of ours, and the goal of sponsor exemptions is to, get them into a tournament when they usually can't be, but like when they become stars, you want them to remember, what you did for them and gave them sort of their start. And, in 2019, we had 3 sponsor exemptions: Matthew Wolf, Colin Morikawa, and Victor Hovland. And 2 of those 3 have never been back to the 3M Open. And that's okay. They will hopefully at some point, but like Sahith comes back every year. Chris Goddard comes back every year. And Chris, I knew is going to be a stud, and he's going to be, and Sahith obviously is. So like guys like that sort of, say they're going to come back and then do, like I have a soft spot for it. And if they become stars, which Sahith obviously has, be it on Netflix Full Swing.
Yep.
Like that's just really cool for me. So I love that.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to put you on the spot on that, but I figured like there would be maybe a couple players like that. So that's a great answer. I love that. Early mornings or late nights during the week as far as golf? If you were to play, what's your preference?
Later at night. It's the only time I get a chance to get out and play with my boys. We'll play 9 holes because they got, it's either school or some type of sporting event. And I'm working. And so like we'll get out for a 9 at night and it's awesome.
Should we ask the song, walk-up song?
I will. I'm curious about the next one you wrote, though.
Oh, so yeah, this is, again, kind of like Dom had mentioned with his favorite course, the Wilderness. Obviously, the TPC, that's real. Is there like a course, though, that you like to play besides the TPC?
I really enjoy Windsong Farms. I don't know if you guys have been out there. Like, that is an awesome course.
I've heard about it. I haven't. That's out. Is that out west?
It is. It's Independence. It's like just west of Wayzata. I really enjoy that course out there. I mean, really, I think Dom said it. Like, there are so many good courses here, you guys. Like, so many good courses. Olympic Hills is amazing. We've been able to meet so many great members out there that have become champions of 3M Open. That course and what the Luthers have done for that is amazing. I love White Bear Yacht Club. I mean, there are so many great courses. But then I'll tell you, like, I love Columbia. Like, Columbia is a fun course. Like, I love that
great city course, isn't it?
It is. It's a great city course. And, grow up in Milwaukee, the Milwaukee County Parks golf courses were awesome. And when I came here, I was like, oh, the Minneapolis city courses are kind of the same. You got Gross, you got Worth. I mean, a lot of these are really good courses that you can have a good time at.
It's kind of an underrated course too that I played for the first time this year was Manitou Ridge, the St. Paul City owned course.
Never played that.
Yeah, it's actually, again, it's kind of right up in that Columbia Alley. But again, some of those courses are kind of the best course, fun to play.
Yeah, absolutely.
He doesn't take me places, so I'm stuck playing like Majestic Oaks, and
Majestic Oaks good.
I like
Victory Links, though. I will say is probably my favorite course. One of my favorite courses, Victory Lake.
You're just saying that.
No, for real. That is one of my favorite. I lived in Ham Lake for a long time.
Yeah, Victory does a great job. That place is always in great shape.
Mm-hmm. Okay, go ahead. Ask a couple questions. Whatever you want.
About time. Just kidding. So one of my favorite things to ask people, I'm sure we've asked you before, but it changes every year. Hole one, one day maybe the 3M will do walk-up songs, but what would your walk-up song be?
Boy. Something from Tribe Called Quest. So probably like a Ward Tour from Tribe Called Quest. Go. Yeah. I grew up on hip hop and R&B. And so that, so I'd say Tribe is probably my favorite rap group of all time. My favorite group of all time. You guys probably don't even heard of New Edition or Belle Biv DeVoe, Poison.
New Edition?
Like that. Yeah.
Trust me, I know who Belle Biv DeVoe is. Yeah, my mom was. She was telling me about how she wanted to go to I think it was a Naughty by Nature show. And my grandparents are like, absolutely not. And then she snuck out and saw him anyways. And yet I'm not allowed to sneak out when I was in high school because God forbid I do what my mom did.
New Edition, do they play Cool It now?
Cool It Now, man. Yep.
Yeah, man, that song is. I know that song. That song's a banger.
So on Sunday of this year's 3M Open, when we hand the trophy to the champion, that's my 50th birthday, you guys. So I'm going to celebrate my 50th birthday on that Sunday when we hand the champion the trophy. And so like some of the interns here, like when I talk about my music and all that, like some of them I think actually giggle that I'm into like hip hop and R&B and rap. They can't even fathom it, but I'm like, hey, you're as only old as you feel, right? Like I feel like I'm 50 going on 35 still. So like, let me have my music,
That's right.
I used to, when I was working, I had like a work playlist. So it'd have stuff from like Aaliyah all the way through like the modern day. And everyone's like, who is this? I'm like, this is Aaliyah. They're like,
oh, man.
Who? I'm like, you don't know who Aaliyah is?
It wasn't that long ago, but
well, and I was like, I understand that I was young when Aaliyah came out, and then I was even younger when she died.
Yeah.
But I was like, you should know Aaliyah. Like, that made me feel old.
Aaliyah's top 5 for me, no doubt. That's a great call by you.
Love Aaliyah. We should sneak in a speaker on Sunday and just play a Tribe Called Quest. That way, when Mike hands it off,
he'll know who it is. Yeah. He's like, Dom and Derek at it again.
And then we'd never get invited.
We get banned. What is one word to describe the 3M Open? That's tough.
Yeah. I'm going to say forward. I'll say forward. Forward. Like advancing.
Yes, I love that. Great.
I do like the one above it.
Go ahead, ask it.
So obviously we're talking about the Pro-Am a little bit ago, and Derek, before we got on, I was asking Derek, I'm like, how do we get invited to the play in the Pro-Am? Because then you ever could watch just me get carried, which I think would be super funny. But what is your dream Pro-Am pairing?
If you're asking me like Pro-Am pairing or like dream foursome, because again, like
let's go that way.
Well, let's do both actually, because then one is tournament helping, and then one is just like your dream. Yeah,
right. Like I would say Goddard and Thigala. That would be the pro that I want. I want Thigala for 9 and Goddard for the other 9 because like those dudes are just fun, right?
Perfect answer. Yeah.
Dream foursome. What's so funny, you guys, is that I actually got to play with one of my folks already in a dream foursome. Again, I'm a baseball guy. Oh, Dom, you're a Twins guy. Like so I grew up rooting for the Brewers, Paul Molitor and Robin Yount. I got to play with Paul Molitor. In fact, I was texting with Paul Molitor 2 days ago because I'm trying to get him to play for us in an event. And I actually got a chance to play with Paul Molitor and like that was really cool for me, right?
That's
So
cool.
yeah,
That's
so I
amazing.
would say Paul Molitor be one. Um, I fell in love with the game because of Tiger Woods, so
Yep.
Tiger Woods would be a second one for me. And then the third one, I would say I'd probably say my grandpa. And my grandpa, he's been gone for a few years. He died when he was 97. That was like 5, 6 years ago. I had not started this job yet. No, I did. I was here for one year, and like he was never a golfer, but like that man taught me so much in life,
Sure.
and like it'd just be really cool to just spend 4 hours with him again.
That's amazing.
So my dream foursome, you're gonna love one of them. Being a Timberwolves guy, being born in '97, my idol was Kevin Garnett.
Okay.
Big ticket.
Listen, I had every Kevin Garnett jersey, I had every poster. I would go to elementary school and I had a Timberwolves Kevin Garnett jersey for every day of the week.
Wow.
The whitest kid ever. Me. So I want Kevin Garnett, and I want Kevin Garnett in my dream foursome because I want him to talk shit to me. That way I like grow as a person. I want him to trash talk me.
You can do a
Yeah.
good job of that.
I want to hit a shot ahead and him go, that's it.
Well,
Like,
before you go on, so KG was obviously one of the greatest shit talkers ever. So I have Wally Zerbiak and Troy Hudson coming to the Three Open on that Tuesday.
Do you?
So
I
yeah,
love
so like
Wally.
Yeah.
and Gary, I don't know if Gary Trent ever played with KG, but yeah,
I think he
Wally
did
is
for one.
coming.
I think he did
He
for.
may
I
have.
think he did
Yeah.
for 1 year.
We talk
So
about it all the time
Wally,
on the pod. There was an NBA game for the PlayStation 2. I would throw lobs with Wally to KG. That's all I would do. And then KG would dunk it. It's just alley oop after alley oop with Wally and KG.
those are two guys that had some beef with each other.
They did.
I think
Yeah.
they're cool now, but like back
Yep.
then, yeah.
I was just telling Dom I just got quarter season tickets for the Wolves, and my wife and I live downtown, and I've been a huge Timberwolves fan, same thing for growing up. But like you had mentioned, there was a big string that the state of Minnesota is it's a really good sports town.
Yep.
And I think the Timberwolves, it's been great for the city. But yeah, Anthony Edwards, that guy is the real deal.
The only Timberwolves game you and I've gone to has been the one that they got blown out by the Rockets in the playoffs.
Yeah, that was not a good.
And you
year.
got beer for an entire quarter.
I did.
So again,
Jimmy Butler year.
I saw 2 home playoff games in 13 years. You were at one of them where we had won the game before, and so it was 2-1, and everybody started chanting "Wolves in 6, Wolves in 6" on the steps down. And then the very next game, we were down by 20 at half and lost by over 50 in that game.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That was the game.
We were there. Another dude, my foursome quick. I know we got off topic. I gotta have Bubba. Gotta have my dude Bubba. Bubba's my favorite. I know everybody's favorite's Tiger. Whoop de frickin' do. Give me Bubba Watson. I want him to teach me how to hit stuff out of the pine straw.
Okay.
And then I can't have KG and Bubba and not have Derek because I need Derek to document me getting trash talked by Kevin Garnett because nobody would believe me.
That's awesome. Love that.
I would have to say MJ. Michael Jordan for sure. He's my goat. I mean, MJ's got to be, and yeah, I could just say MJ and Tiger Woods and Dom over here. That
normally doesn't include me.
I'm including him this time. So okay, one last question. We always end on a food related question. So again, we appreciate your time. Dom, go ahead and ask it however you'd like to, my friend.
So the cool part is we could actually go eat where you're gonna say you like to eat, but where would you go get dinner out of everywhere in Minnesota? Like, what is your go-to place?
Man, you guys, I don't know if you've been to Baltimore. I'm sure you have. Have you heard
what was
of it? Baltimore in Roseville?
No, can't say that I have.
Guys, game changing.
Baltimore.
Game changing.
What type of food is it? Is it like a?
It's kind of a steakhouse, but it's got everything.
It looks like good food judging by his face, just the way he's talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and like it's a place you got to treat yourself, right? And so like sure. we do it infrequently, but like their appetizers are amazing, their steaks are amazing, their wine list is incredible. So like if I'm gonna treat myself, it's Baltimore. And again,
spot.
You guys know Minneapolis and St. Paul scene, like it's amazing, right? Like we were just at St. Paul down at Red Cow, like that's an awesome spot. Like you can't get better burgers than that, right? I mean, there's just so many great things, but yeah, if I'm going to treat myself, I'm going to go to Baltimore. You guys should check it out. It's really, really good.
Definitely do that.
Damn, I love Granite City. I think that's my favorite like local spot.
That's good.
It's in Maple Grove. I love it.
Our hangout is Runyons.
Oof.
Buffalo wings.
I've been there so much, man. Like, yeah, I mean, listen, you're gonna get to my age where one day, once you go to Runyon's, you know where you're headed to next, right? After you go to Runyon, right? And so, like, you pay for it, but dang, it is good. You're right about that.
It's literally just like a hop and a skip away, and we're there. Yeah.
Mike, thank you so much, man. Good luck next week. We're gonna come out there as well.
We'll probably run.
We're gonna try to finish that 6 under so we can join you guys on Thursday morning tea time, and then
I'll probably miss it if it's in the morning though.
Yeah. Have a happy birthday, happy 50th, man.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Good to see you.
Yep. Take care. See you.
All right, guys. Take care.